Ladies and gentlemen, this is TVP World. You're watching another edition of Break the Fake, where we debunk fake news and combat false narratives. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee, and let's get rolling. So, Russian state media has rolled out wall-to-wall coverage of the grand opening of the allegedly restored Mariupol Drama Theater. Federal TV, pro-Kremlin bloggers, and official commentators all singing in unison about a symbol of peace and a return to cultural life. It is presented as healing, as closure, as if a ribbon and a camera angle can overwrite history. What this really is a deliberate attempt to bury one of Russia's most notorious war crimes under fresh plaster and scripted applause.
Сегодняшнее открытие – это заявление всему миру, что нашу культуру убить невозможно.
Образцово-театральный коллектив «Браво», город Харцизск.
Школа хореографического мастерства Вадима Писарева, город Донецк.
Я несказанно рад, что у нас есть возможность сегодня зафиксировать еще одну важнейшую точку в возрождении Донбасса.
Let us remind you what this building actually represents. On March 16, 2022, Russian aircraft dropped a bomb on the Mariupol Drama Theater where hundreds of civilians were sheltering. The word children was written in large letters above the entrance. It was visible, it was clear, and it changed nothing. According to various estimates, about 600 people were killed. The exact number is still unknown. Mariupol was under siege. Bodies remained under the rubble. Later, the traces of the tragedy were carefully cleaned up. And almost 4 years have passed, and Russian authorities have still not acknowledged responsibility. Instead, they repeat the same line over and over about a supposed Ukrainian strike. And now, there are ribbons, fanfare, speeches about reconstruction. The occupation administration staged a show, turning a sight of mass civilian death into a propaganda backdrop. In all those reports, there's not a single word about the dead, not a minute of silence, not even a pretense of responsibility. Just smiling faces and inflated slogans. This opening is not about culture, it is part of a broader strategy. The Kremlin wants to replace memory with myth, crime with a story about rebuilding Donbas, but repainting walls does not erase what happened beneath them. The ruins are still there, so are the memories. Today, the Mariupol Drama Theater is not a symbol of peace, it is proof that Russia is trying to construct its version of reality on top of destroyed cities and lost lives. And no ceremony, no matter how polished, can erase the facts. Residents of Ukrainian cities occupied by Russia are once again being pushed in front of cameras, not to praise a bright future, but to beg for basic living conditions. A video from a high-rise building in Severodonetsk spread online. The roof is damaged, there has been no heating for 4 years, and yet, according to the Occupation Administration's paperwork, major repairs have been carried out. Apparently, these repairs were so major they only exist in documents. On paper, everything is fixed. In real life, people are freezing under a leaking roof.
А на третьем дед умер уже от холода. Там даже нет штукатуренная стена. Грибок идет у нас по всему стояку. Он тут так мерз, бедный. 1 год я его там помогла, отправила в дом престарелых одним, а больше его не забрали. Так он и умер в холоде. Нам же и заболеть нельзя. У нас всего 2 терапевта. Попасть невозможно. Вот видите, это же уже неделю дождей не было. Вот. Я тогда посливала воду, а здесь, так там невозможно было и поставить. Там бежала по всему потолку. Мне кажется, он скоро вообще, этот потолок, обвалится. Вот так мы и живем. Что с нами будет, не знаем. Мерзнем, холодно, сыро. Никто нас не слышит. И не хочет нас никто слышать, как будто здесь, понимаете, не люди, какие-то изгои живут. Не знаем уже, куда нам обращаться. Как мы выживем в эту зиму, может, так же, как и все, отойдем в мир иной.
Russian propaganda pours serious money into the image of reconstruction. Happy residents, fresh paint, endless talk about stability. There's just one problem. The thermometer does not watch television. It keeps showing sub-zero temperatures in apartments without heating. The roof does not read press release either. It keeps leaking. On paper, again, houses are repaired, cities are coming back to life, and people are getting back on their feet. In reality, residents are forced to film themselves as evidence that this reconstruction exists only in reports. The result is a new genre, a documentary about repairs that nobody ever seen. See, these appeals are not rare exceptions. They're the system working as intended. The Kremlin does not care about how people live in occupied territories. What matters is reporting and a clean picture for television. Heating, safety, a roof over your head, these things have values only if they help the propaganda narrative. Russian occupation has delivered exactly what it always does. Murder, terror, destruction, decline, and a special kind of European-style renovation strictly on paper. It does not keep you warm, it does not stop the rain, but it looks excellent in official reports, and that clearly is the entire point. So, what do ordinary Russians think about the war after almost 4 years? One resident of rural Russia answered with impressive confidence. She said she is happy that there is a war because, according to her, Ukraine attacked Russia first. Her tone was calm, her wording careful, her emotions sincere, exactly like on television, just without the prompter. This is not hysteria or confusion. This is a rehearsed worldview delivered straight from the screen into everyday speech. A survey among so-called deep Russians produced a result nobody should be surprised by. The majority approves of the war, supports the Kremlin, and proudly backs the president. There is enough pride to go around. Pride in missile strikes, pride in the 4th year of voluntary service, pride in explaining why a foreign country somehow attacked first. The logic is brutally simple. If it was said on TV, then it must be true. No follow-up questions required.
Что изменилось? Я не против, что вот это идет война, то, что эти скоты на нас напали. У меня сыночек пошел добровольно, и он воюет уже 4-й год. И я горжусь этим.
Канализация и газ. Вот нету, единственного.
Вот это я хотел бы позвонить, но не знаю.
А так все, в принципе. А с канализацией так и нет. То есть идешь в Ананина, люди спускают все это на дорогу.
И вонища.
Да, вот единственный минус, чтобы вот этот вопрос еще бы решить бы.
Вот это у нас наш хотелось бы задать вопрос, но не знаю.
Я считаю, все идет в правильном направлении. То, что там кто-то недоволен, это ожидание людей, нужно просто без ожидания относиться.
Пожаловаться на огромную очередь военнослужащих, лишенных своего собственного жилья. Нас более 47 тысяч человек уже, вместе с семьями.
Так что желаем, чтобы дальше было так же.
Доколе. Точка. Наверное, знак вопроса. Все.
Все?
Да, все. Он поймет.
Жить стало повеселей. Ну, естественно, интересует вопрос, когда закончится у нас СВО. И там много уже начинается сравнение с Великой Отечественной.
Когда все станет хорошо.
Как у нас здесь все равно, везде. Во всей стране мы же смотрим программу. Поэтому Владимир Владимирович молодец.
There is, however, one inconvenient detail hiding behind this mass approval. The sewage system does not work. According to those surveyed, this is the main issue they would like to raise with Putin. Not the war, not the dead, not poverty, but the pipes. Because the war is far away, but the smell is immediate. Ideology may come from the television, but reality still comes from the toilet. For years, Russian propaganda has pushed a simple formula. War is normal, suffering is heroic, doubt is treason. Judging by these answers, the formula works. People are ready to trade a functioning life for the feeling of being on the right side of history, even when that history brings nothing but funerals, decay, and a broken sewage system. This is how deep Russia lives. Pride in war, television instead of facts, and expectation that personal misery is a fair price for national greatness. As long as the screen keeps explaining who to blame, nothing else really has to work. And with that, we conclude this edition of Break the Fake. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.